Hi guys, it's Roxanne, your favorite queen bee. I know I have been like incognito for so long, and I do apologize. Had a lot of stuff going on. We, in general, as a population, have a lot going on now, but I thought I'd sit down with you here. I'm a hot mess. I have no makeup on. I have spots on my face. This is me, you know. We don't all look flawless at the at the beginning of the day, you know. But I took a shower earlier, I washed my hair, so I'm about to straighten my hair, and I figured maybe we could just talk a little bit and kind of catch up while I straighten my hair. So it is currently. I thought I dropped something. Um, March 19th. I had to look at my phone. Um, Oh, and by the way, I have a new cell phone, a new number. If anyone would like it, just get up with me through Messenger on Facebook or whatever, and I'll be glad to give it to you. If you don't, that's okay too. So I don't know. It's probably been close to a month, maybe even a little bit longer. I think shortly after Valentine's Day. I think I did one more video shortly after that, and since then I haven't been on. Um, I guess that's a little bit better. And so, anyone close to me knows I lost my grandmother on March 3rd. March 3rd? March 2nd? March 1st? I don't even know. I can't even right now. So, anyways, the beginning of March, I lost my grandmother. Um, that was that was my mother's mother, who lives right down the road from me here. She had been on hospice for, I don't know, a year or more now. She'd been going down a lot, but she took a turn for the worse. And I believe that Friday before, she had passed away on a Sunday night around 11:30. So that Friday before, she was kind of up doing, running around in the house in her apartment. My mom and two of my other sisters, or two of my other aunts, my mom's sisters, were over there, and they were like, Nanny, you need, or Mom, you need to, calm down, you need to rest, you don't need to be up running around. And then I guess she took her nighttime medicine like she always does around 10:30, and shortly after that in the night, she took a turn from the worst and started aspirating, and hospice come in, and the nurses, because they called, and over the next 2 days they had to cut off all her fluids and her food intake because of her aspirating, and they were giving her morphine on the hour every hour. And you want to talk about heartbreaking, just watching someone you love, that you look up to and you admire and you care so much, and probably one of the sweetest people you could ever think of, you know suffering there. And she eventually, I believe, middle of the day Saturday, was no longer conscious as far as being able to talk, open her eyes. Um, and so we knew it was coming. It don't make it no easier. And then shortly after, so of course all the family was coming in. We had family come from Texas, from all over. The ones that were able to come in, financially was able to come at the drop of a hat. Everyone else, either able to make it, or they came for the funeral a couple days later. But what can you say, that she was my last grandparent that was alive. She's the sweetest person in the whole world, and so I can't even say trying to get back to not to reality, but get back to a normal, because what is normal when you lose someone you love? And I'm trying to hold it together for Mom. That was her mother that passed away. I mean, there's only so many I'm here for you and I love you and don't cry, and it's going to be all right, that you can hear before you don't want to hear it no more. So I'm just trying to just be there for her and for the rest of them as well. And she had a viewing. This is the problem. My days are just all over the place. Maybe the viewing was the 3rd and the funeral was the 4th. Maybe that's what it was. Anyways, yeah, okay, okay, so she passed Sunday night at 11:30, a couple weeks back, 2 weeks ago, and then I think all of her preparations as far as what she wanted, all that kind of stuff, had already been taken care of by her years ago, and then she's updated it through the years as she's wanted things changed. So as far as sitting down with like the people at the funeral home, it wasn't a long process because everything had been written out and signed and everything by her, notarized, all that kind of stuff to make it official. So I think they sat down Monday, got everything in order. Now this was Nanny's kids. My mother, who's the oldest out of a total of 7 kids, but 6 are living because one of them had passed on when she was a baby. So there's 6 living kids. They all sat down in funeral home. I think that was Monday, and came up with a plan as far as when and where, all that kind of stuff. And so Tuesday we had her viewing out at our church, Church of God of Prophecy here in Washington, North Carolina, on Clark's Neck Road. And there was a lot of people that came for that. It was especially sweet. I had Matt come, my sweet Matt. He came and actually stayed with me. He got dropped off at my house with not only what is that called, like a wreath, like a mourning wreath, but it wasn't what I would consider a mourning wreath because I always think of like black, dark colors, but this was like so beautiful. And him and Teresa both had made up these let me see if I can find them. These really pretty, well, he made a wreath and then she made a basket of artificial flowers. And maybe I'd be better looking through my pictures of them. I know it makes no sense now, but I would like to show them because they did such a sweet, and it's just something like that just means the world to me. Okay, so this is what Matt made. Like, it's beautiful. He said he's never made one before. I said, well, you definitely got talent. He did such a good job. And then Teresa made this bouquet as well, and that was in a little basket. And as of right now, both of them, so they were on the remembrance table during the viewing and the funeral, which were both held at our church. And so that was just beyond kind and sweet, And so anyways, he got dropped off right after he got out of school that day because, of course, I didn't go in until the following Thursday, or until that Thursday, because of the whole, just, mourning time, I guess is what you call it. And that's something else I want to say is Beaufort County Community College in general. I couldn't ask for a better place that I'm getting my education from. I highly recommend them to anyone because I've gotten so many condolences, and I got a card signed by the foundation office talking about so sorry for your loss, we're thinking of you and your family. And I even got a personalized card from one of my teachers, specifically handed it over to me, and that just was just so sweet, so kind. And that's not something they have to do, but that's just one more reason that why I love BCC so much. And so anyways, he got dropped off about 3 o'clock that day when he got out of school, and he stayed with me that whole afternoon. And then I think the viewing was at like 6 or 6:30, something like that. And so he rode with us, me, him, Mom, Eric's friend Zach, who's over here now as well, staying with us for tonight. I don't know about the next couple days, but I know he's here tonight with us. Stayed. And then also Paul, he was there as well, with me for the whole thing, so that was very sweet. So once I got there, and we had friends and family, coming in to pay their respects and everything. And Miss Teresa showed up and stayed. for just about the whole thing. So did Attila. I love Attila so much. Speaking of which, Attila, if you're watching this, we have to get together to do that project sometime soon. And he'll know what I'm talking about for school. And then also Bernice and Burley, two of my officers for Gamma Beta Phi, and also other things that we do together out on campus. They came and sat with me and showed their support. And I just, you know, it don't, something like that means more to me than money. I mean, honestly, is money good? Yeah, of course it is. But when you're struggling and you really find out who cares for you, and just being there sometimes just means so much. And then for the viewing itself, I mean, for the funeral itself, that following Wednesday morning, once again, we had a full church, family, friends, and I don't believe Matt was able to make that one, no, because he had classes, or he had a test that he couldn't miss, which by all means go, you know. But I had Paul there, I had Eric, of course, Mama, Eric and his friend Zach, because Zach stayed the night, and then also Mr. Lyons showed up, and I just happened to not be looking at the door. I guess when he walked in and he signed the book where you sign, you know, your name, the guest book, I guess is what it is. And I just happened to look up, and he was halfway, because I was sitting all the way in the back. I originally started up at the front with my mama, and somehow or another I kept getting moved to the back, and so Paul was already sitting at the back, and so was Eric and Zach. And Paul just kind of looked, and I was like, I'm coming, I see. Apparently I keep getting booted out, which is fine. So anyways, I look up, and there's only one Mr. Lyons, and if you know who I'm talking about, y'all know I'm right. There's only one person that's Mr. Lyons. No other body looks like him, and I don't mean that in a bad way. And I was like, oh, there's Dr. Lyons. And he actually sat with me for the whole funeral, and that was so sweet. And so then we went out after the viewing, and they put Nanny's coffin in the hearse, and you did that slow drive across town out to the cemetery, and they had the little graveside service. You know, it was cold. All of a sudden, from the time we were in the church that morning until we got out and was headed to the funeral, to the gravesite here in town, it got so cold. So as much as they wanted to do and say, they did it in a hurry because it was cold. And then we left, and then we come back, and I think we dropped Zach off after that at his house. And then we went back to my nanny's apartment, where everyone was kind of centered. That was like the headquarters, so to speak, where all the food was being brought and everything. So we all kind of sat around and joked and reminisced and, cried and did whatever you need to do to get through it. And then the very next day I went back to work, or went back to school. Eric went back to school as well. And, after that, what do you do but go day by day? So I had that, trying to get back to a normal schedule, and then all of this pandemonium hits with the coronavirus, and currently Beaufort County here in Washington, North Carolina, I'm not sure about the kids. I think the kids, as far as like the regular K through 12 grades, go back March 30th, unless that gets pushed further. But Beaufort, the college students, we don't go back until April 5th. And part of that has to do with our spring break was supposed to be the first week of April. So I think that's why they're still letting us have our spring break as for now. From my understanding, I don't know, every day something's different, something's new. It's either got worse or it's gotten better, or I don't know. So I do have, I'm actually recording on my brand new computer here. I got me I'm very keen and fond of Chromebooks because, of course, that's where I do all my work through Google. Anything I do is usually through Google anyways, whether it's schoolwork, entertainment, whatever. And so for me, Chromebook is just ideal because that's what I do, what I'm on 90% of the time. And so I had originally had, for about 2 years now, maybe not quite 2 years, year and a half, I had a Chromebook, and it was fine. It was the one I did almost all my other videos on that y'all have watched. And the only problem I had with it is that it wasn't an 11-inch Chromebook, just very small. And so at Christmas time, one of Eric's main gifts from me was a new laptop. He needed one. His other one crashed, whatever he did. I don't know. Probably don't want to know. And so I got him, he wanted a Chromebook like mine, but just bigger. And I was like, all right. So I ended up getting him one. And I believe his was 15 or 16 inches. And I loved his as far as I could see, because that was the only problem I had with my Chromebook, was that, especially trying to do homework on it, like math problems and stuff, I shouldn't be squinting with glasses on at a screen. I mean, that right there should tell me, you know. And I know my eyes are getting worse. And so I need to get back to the doctor, even though it's only been about a year since I've been there, to get new glasses. But I can tell that my vision is changing, and probably has gotten slightly worse. And so I need to go back and get them to check them and see what's going on. But I also don't need to be looking at a screen that's small. And so when my school check came, that was the one thing I did for myself, was I bought myself a bigger computer, same exact kind, Chromebook, except that it's just like my son's. It's like 15 or 16 inches. It's huge. I love it, you know. I can see it. And so I'm very happy with that. This is actually, I believe, the first time I've actually recorded on it since getting it. So kudos to you, my audience. Y'all are getting to see this. Look, I am I am straightening my hair, but I am like sweating. I am hot. This always makes me hot. But can y'all tell the difference? Like this, see all this frizzy, and the hair just feels coarse. And then over here, I mean, it's not completely done, but you can tell the difference. To me, it's softer, it's shinier, manageable, and I have a lot of hair on my head. So this usually takes me, I mean, if I'm really pushing it for time and I'm not trying to be exact, I can get it done in a good 20-25 minutes, but that's pushing it, and it's like half-assed. You know, don't say I said that. But for me to do a really good job to do my hair fully, it takes a good 45 minutes. Not saying I'm going to be on here for the whole 45 minutes doing my hair, but I figured I can kill two birds with one stone, because I was feeling guilty for not recording or even giving an update. It's just everything. And I've got a lot going on in my head as well, and not solely from Nanny passing, but some major or major not. To me, it's major things have happened in my life here recently. Maybe good. I don't know. Maybe not good. And I'm supposed to be graduating this semester. And okay, before y'all get like, oh my God, she's not going to graduate. No, it's not that. It's just everything with this coronavirus going on. It shut everything down. And like my senior year, as far as right before I get ready to graduate, we had all these trips planned. And I'm not saying I want to mess up my semester just so I can have a chance to do all these trips. That's not it. But I also do not get out very much. My family does a lot of it has to do with finances, and then the other half has to do with just not being able to go places because of lack of vehicles, or just the lack of gumption. You know, there's some people that just don't, in my family, that just don't like to be around a lot of other people, strangers. My son included. He has it in spurts. Sometimes he's okay in large crowds, but then more often than not, he'd rather not. So he's more of a homebody, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a homebody at a point, but I'm also at a point to where I want to get out and I want to meet people and I want to do things. And so a lot of these school trips are my only access to getting out and doing these things. And, of course, they're paid for by the school, so therefore I don't have to worry about finances of being able to afford to go to these hotels. And, well, go to these hotels. Wow, really, Roxanne? But go to these different functions and conventions and see these other universities and overnight trips. So therefore, you're staying in hotels. There we go. That sounds so much better. And so with this being my senior year, of course, with the coronavirus right now, everything's canceled. Everything's a no go, and I feel like I'm gypped, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Of course, you're seeing all these memes out there on Instagram, Facebook, all these other things, and I share them. They are funny, but when you get really right down serious to it, like it looks like the senior class is going to be like virtual reality getting their diplomas, because every time you turn on the news, it's no longer a 2 week quarantine. It's going to be an 8 week quarantine. I think the biggest university we have closest to us, which is about 30 minutes away, not even that, is ECU. And all of their students for this semester that lived on campus, as of yesterday, I believe, or today, have to start packing up and moving off campus, moving out of the dorms for the rest of the semester. Like their whole semester is gone as far as online or, living on campus and having that whole experience. And so I just, like, it sucks, but I don't know. I'm graduating. There is no doubt about it. I am graduating, but I feel like I want a do-over for this last semester going. Everything's getting canceled. I mean, let's see, I was supposed to go to Goldsboro for a weekend trip for Trio. Let's see, I knew I had my state convention conference for the N4 SGA, where all 58 community college SGA officers come together, twice a year for these big conventions. And they are so much fun. And then also we're having the end of the year trip going to Georgia for 2 days, That's great. We're going out of state this time, Canceled. Corona canceled it. And so, I don't know. I mean, I want my degree, but I also want my senior year the way I want it. I don't want all this corona messing it up, but it is. So I'm kind of stuck on the fence for that. Don't know what to do. Yeah. So Matt had ordered me something before I do this last section of hair. Matt had ordered me something, and he come by today and stayed a little bit with me and visited, since officially Monday was the last day for the BCC students out there on campus. So he had ordered some stuff off Wish, and of course he ordered his crown. It came in, so now we're officially the king and queen of BCC, which I think is so cute. Okay, these are little crown earrings. Let me see if I can do it this way. Yeah, you can see them. See how they kind of dangle? Adorable. So I've got them, and then he gave me this brooch, so this would get pinned on, and show you that as well. Adorable. I love it. And he's got one as well, except for his is, I think it's more like, because this is more like womanly, I assume. And so his is a crown, whereas this is more of like a tiara, I guess. And then his has a little chain that kind of connects over to it. Reminds me of like the old style pocket watches the men used to wear. You know what I'm talking about, where the chain would connect? I think I know what I'm talking about. So that was so sweet. And he also made me some jewelry. He had gotten asked to make some jewelry for our golf tournament coming up the end of this semester. The foundation board holds an auction in the fall and a golf tournament in the spring. And then of course all proceeds, all money, everything gets put back into the school for scholarships. And so Miss Serena, who was over it, had asked Matt if he would make her some jewelry, and of course he did. And he had extra, and he made me some, and they're so pretty. I'll have to show you on another video. They're in my jewelry box right now. So, trying to cover everything of what's really been going on. A whole bunch, but then not a whole bunch. Does that make sense? So today is Thursday, so technically Tuesday, Wednesday. So this is day 3 of quarantine. Um, I'm not bored. If anything, I've got to keep myself on a halfway decent schedule because um, even though we're quarantined, all of our work has moved solely online. And teachers are being very lenient with dates. I mean, you still got to have a due date, but let's say they're giving us a whole week to get work done. So maybe like everything's due either Sunday night or Monday morning of the following week. You know what I mean? So I have to keep reminding myself to go back and to keep on it because there is a little bit more work than, let's say, if we were just in the classroom going over a chapter on the whatever on the overhead or whatever, online. And of course, my math. I'm actually a lot more comfortable, if I'm willing to use that word, as daring as to say comfortable with the math. The Lord knew what He was doing when He sent me to Miss Jones's classroom, um, because she is a godsend. She is the patience of a saint, and I don't know. She is wonderful. She is just probably one of the best math teachers I've ever had in my whole life, to where it's manageable. And if she has to repeat something 20 times because I didn't get it the first 19 times, she don't lose her patience. And if I was in her shoes, I don't think I could do the same thing. I'd be like, look, girl, you better get this. No, I wouldn't be like that, but definitely it takes a special person to be a teacher. Um, Let me rephrase that. Anybody can get their degree to be a teacher, but it takes a special person to be a good teacher. And she is, as well as many other instructors out there on campus. And like me and Matt have the same class as far as the math that we're taking, but with two totally different teachers at two different times in the day. His is at 11 to 11:50, and then mine is from 1 to 1:50, and then 2 to 2:50 because I have an extra added in math class for extra help for me. And so even though we're both in pre-calculus, sometimes his teacher will be like a lesson or two ahead of mine, but then there's other times where he'll be a lesson or two behind mine. It's just real weird. But so we're constantly also there trying to help each other. If one person understands something better than the other one, we're there, right there at it. And I am holding at a solid C in pre-calculus, and I am not mad at that at all. That to me was a miracle, and that miracle is called Miss Jones. Um, she's just great. Like math don't even I mean Matt doesn't even have Miss Jones as a teacher. His teacher, her name is Miss Knox. She's fairly new out there. I actually think this is either her first or second semester period out there at the college, working. Very young. I mean, she seems like a nice enough teacher, but Miss Jones makes it a point to tell Matt that on that second part, it's called the co-rec class, where you get the extra one-on-one help. And so I go from a class size, the first class from like 1 to 150. I think there's about 10 or 12 of us in there, which is still a very small class. So it goes from that to the co-rec to where there's literally 4 of us in there. So you get so much more one-on-one personalized help. If something doesn't make sense, but you're maybe uncomfortable asking it in a bigger crowd, you've got it there to kind of work with her. Plus, she's got office hours too that you can go in and help and get help with. But she told Matt and told me to tell Matt, and he does it. He'll come in there when something's not making sense with his teacher. He'll come in there and he'll sit with my class from 2 to 2:50. And he said, I'm telling you, Roxanne, if it wasn't for me being able to do that, I don't think I'd have. I think he's got a C right now as well. We're both holding steady at a C. And like I told Matt, at the end of the day, at the end of the semester, that C will pass just like that A will. And I am not mad at that C right now. Besides that, my health class seems to be doing all right. I think I got a B in that class. No problems with that. Very straightforward. Um, Mr. Baldwin, that's who my instructor is for that class. He's a very nice guy. Um, I don't have nothing bad to say about anybody, but I mean, I get along with just, it takes a really bad person for me to not get along with, or at least tolerate, you know. And my other class that I'm taking for this final semester is Humanities with Miss Stoatsberry. And what I thought was going to be the easiest class seems to be the most difficult, not in work, but in because I spent so much time and energy getting my math um, established and feeling comfortable enough in that I've let that class go. So now I'm struggling in that class only to get my work called up. Does that make sense? And so I don't know. If I drop that class, then of course I would be back in the fall to retake it or to take another class. Um, so I don't know. I've got some decisions to make here. I don't know. Um, I just don't know. But what is it, Aretha Franklin? I will survive. I'll get through it. There's a saying, it says, can't go over it, you can't go around it, you can only get through it. So I'm doing it the best way I can, you know. I know right now they are, all the brothers and sisters of my grandmother, my nanny, are, oh, Jesus, are going through all of her belongings now and trying to divvy them up. And, you know, they got her apartment cleaned out and everything. And then she had a storage unit, so that's what they're going through now. And then, of course, as they're going through all that stuff with my nannies from 30, 40, 50 years ago, of course, memory lane, you know, you're going down and remembering it. And then you'll have someone who'll break down, and then tempers get kind of hot as well because this person said this or this person, you know, family drama. And so I always do my best to try to stay out of it as much as possible, but at the same time still make sure I'm there for my mother. You know, anyone that's got family, which is everyone just about, knows that family can be difficult sometimes. But one day at a time. All right, this is going to be it for me tonight. It's 9 o'clock at night. I got the worst of it done. I know it's not great, but it's better than it was. I don't look totally crazy now. On that note, I am going to sign off. I appreciate it so much if you're still here, sticking in with me here. I'm going to try to do my best to do more videos, to take you along, do something. If I can ever get off this quarantine and go out and do different things, I'll take you along with me, especially now that I got my new phone. As always, like, share, subscribe to Queen Bee, a Royal Disaster. Find me on Facebook under Roxanne Tate. I also have Instagram that I'm trying to be more active on, Roxanne Tate as well. Follow me on all the social platforms. And until next time, be safe, and above all else, be kind. Bye.